ragged mountain ranges, of drought and flooding rains. When the lucky country isn't so lucky,
lucky you're with Amy.
I love a sunburnt country. A land of sweeping plains, of ragged mountain ranges, of drought and flooding rains. When the lucky country isn't so lucky,
lucky you're with Amy.
I love a sunburnt country. A land of sweeping plains, of ragged mountain ranges, of drought and flooding rains. When the lucky country isn't so lucky,
lucky you're with Amy.
Tonight, we will remember them. Northern New South Wales turns out from dawn for Anzac Day services.
Courage, sacrifice, mateship. Thousands marched through Sydney, local veterans among them.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese in an Australian first, galvanising an enduring friendship.
Our reporters live from France and Gallipoli, places where the Anzac legend was born.
And a boot.
This is NBN News with Gavin and Natasha Beyersdorf.
Good evening. We will remember them. That was the message across northern New South Wales today as Anzac Day services drew record crowds.
Among them, tens of thousands watched on at Newcastle's Nobby's Beach, paying homage to those who made the ultimate sacrifice and those still serving our country.
Joining together in the final hours before sunrise for one of Newcastle's most solemn and respected traditions.
Welcome to the 2024 Anzac Day Dawn service.
Locals filled the foreshore to pay their respects, while some took a quiet moment for reflection along the beach. The Anzac flame passed on to the next generation.
To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch.
Tributes were laid for loved ones who served before a familiar sound echoed through the city. And then silence.
Can you imagine a crowd like that anywhere else to be so quiet? Never. It's all respect, yeah. And it just, I don't know, it gets you.
Quiet, broken by a mark of respect at Fort Scratchley. Serving more than 30 years in the Army, Hunter-based Regimental Sergeant Major Scott Crum read the Ode of Remembrance.
They were staunch to the end, against odds uncounted.
A stirring moment for the soldier.
I'm born and bred in Newcastle, and it's the first opportunity I've actually had to be here for a dawn service, because I've always been posted away, working generally on Anzac Day, so to do the Ode in front of family and friends has been fantastic for me.
Those of all ages paying tribute to our servicemen and women. I can see you've got some medals there. Whose medals are those?
My dad.
Are you proud of your dad?
Yes.
The Anzac message of resilience ever relevant.
War continues to rage in Europe and the Middle East, and conflicts and human rights atrocities are devastating communities across the globe.
While tens of thousands of people have gathered here this morning, the RSL says attendance is up at dawn services right across the region. From Lake Macquarie to Port Stephens to Maitland, the Hunter Valley, right out to the Upper Hunter. After the sun rose, people lined King Street for the Anzac March. Each person with their own unique connection, from those who served to those still in uniform.
My grandson's marching in the Army Cadets, and also I've got three great uncles that lost their lives in the First World War and the Second World War. So that's why I'm here today. I think it's got bigger and better.
Civic Park packed with people all there for the same reason.
Acknowledgement of the life we have, and we're not taking it for granted.
And in Sydney's march, 99-year-old Valerie Ireland Ireland, an anti-aircraft gunner in Newcastle during World War II.
I'm marching for all my old mates. They've all gone and left me without my permission, and I'm so happy with the memories, but so sad as well.
Lauren Kemp, NBN News. In Sydney, the day began with a solemn service in Martin Place. Then, crowds lined the streets for the Anzac Day parade.
The city, so recently wounded, showing its respect.
The omens were all there, promising something special. A clear sky, a brilliant sunrise, all from a box seat on the bridge. Then 9 o'clock sharp, something to stir the blood. A march down the spine of the city, 5 city blocks. Waiting for his turn, we found former World War II airman Ron Leckie. He's 102.
Do you reckon you've done nearly every Anzac Day since 1945?
Yes.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's good.
For a city feeling bruised, some healing was required, and the march delivered. $11,209 took part in the march. Finding a story is easy work.
Each one is so beautiful in itself. And I think what it is, to me, you hear every story, and none detracts from the other.
One of the best is World War II vet, 99-year-old Valerie Ireland. Signed up at 18 to protect the Newcastle steelworks. She was struck in the head by a rogue bullet, possibly a prank. She was patched up and continued to serve.
I'm here for all my mates. They've all gone. All my cohorts have gone. So I'm here thinking about them and how they would love to be here today.
That story alone was worth a fly past. 1 million Australians served in World War II. It's now estimated that there are now only 2,500 still living. That's what makes it so special when you come across the handful here today. They are truly living history. 99-year-old New Guinea vet John McCauley, not just living, rolling down the march route, he's the last man standing. You remember when there was quite a few of you here?
Yes.
And how many now?
All gone. They've all gone. Yeah. There are none. None.
Many had been at the cenotaph 5 hours earlier.
Some 2,000 Australians were killed or wounded on the 25th of April 1915, and more than 60,000 Australians would die throughout the First World War.
Then World War II, another 40,000 lives lost. It was one of the largest dawn service crowds in recent years, every seat taken, standing room only, up and down Martin Place.
Only by remembering them this way, as everyday Australians, that we can truly appreciate their gallant deeds and the enormity of what they endured and sacrificed.
Anzac Day 109, done and dusted, and everyone feeling a little lighter. You did well. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
And a great turnout, according to RSL Chief turned barman Nick Bainbridge.
Thank you very much.
A few hours that saw the free beer flowing, with plenty of stories on tap. Mark Burrows, NBN News.
The Prime Minister marked Anzac Day in the mountains of Papua New Guinea, remembering the 600 Australians who died on the Kokoda track.
Anthony Albanese and his PNG counterparts say the lessons of history must be heeded to avoid future wars.
Amid the hum of an awakening jungle, a familiar call to honour. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese leading a pilgrimage to Kokoda, joined by his PNG counterpart and 400 others drawn to this remote outpost.
We are gathered in a place that has known the most pitiless ferocity of battle.
PNG's national song, led by an Australian serviceman. Isaraba Memorial's for a dedication to the diggers' courage, endurance, mateship and sacrifice, as well as the Fuzzy Wuzzy angels who selflessly came to their aid.
We never requested war, we never demanded war, but we were caught into a conflict that was not ours.
To the people of PNG, I offer Australia's solemn promise. We will never forget.
Among those to travel in tribute, Kelvin Martin from Rockhampton, walking 8 days on the Kokoda track in honour of his grandfather Leslie Shard, who served as a signalman.
I feel more connected to him now. Didn't realise how tough it was for them. It just really makes you realise what they went through.
It's just a great place to commemorate, men who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
My great-grandfather fought over here, so to me it means a lot to represent him and our family.
Ivan Natua's father was one of the Highland heroes during the Kokoda campaign more than 80 years ago.
I'm a son of Wazwazan. When he was 19 years old, he helped the Australian Allied Forces.
These Sarava villagers treasure their proud heritage. As well as remembrance, the clear message from both Prime Ministers is learn from the past and cherish peace. After an historic visit, an already enduring friendship has been taken to new heights. Andrew Probyn, NBN News.
From Lake Macquarie to Port Stephens, the Hunter today marked Anzac Day without fallen soldiers front of mind. Schools, families and football clubs alike came together to honour more than 103,000 Australians who've made the ultimate sacrifice in our country's name.
An early start in Madawi as the marching band took to the streets at dawn. In West Wallsend, a sign of respect, even from man's best friend, as locals reflected on 109 years since the Anzac landing at Gallipoli.
My great-great-uncle was actually a light horseman, so, families they all reflect back on that.
In Wanji Wanji, the world's largest collection of World War II military vehicles were on parade. The tradition, now in its 25th year, featured a record number of vehicles, 97 in total.
You've got amphibious jeeps, you've got a couple of tanks, you've got half-tracks, you've got some links, some very rare vehicles. These 8 or 9 bring gun carriers.
In East Maitland, a show from those still serving. F-35s flew overhead. The march continued below at Maitland Park, commanded by Flying Officer Veronica Nikolic from 2 Squadron RAF Base in Williamtown. The Catapult Party introduced the service.
The Catapult Party is significant as it defends or protects the symbolic resting place of the soldiers that have fallen from Australian and New Zealand forces.
The community laid wreaths in memory of those who never made it home.
Really proud to, as the school community, to come out today and read the prayers. I think it's one of the first times that our school's ever done it.
Young people need to know their own history, our country's history, I guess, and what people have done for us.
The crosses planted here at the Maitland Cenotaph represent conflicts involving Anzac soldiers, starting with the Maori War in 1863 through to East Timor. After solemn services, games of two-up. Large crowds congregated in Hamilton, where punters tried their luck at the Green Roof Hotel. While on the football field, the Cessnock Goannas paid their respects at the Newcastle Rugby League Club's inaugural Anzac Day round, honouring late Lance Corporal Jack Fitzgibbon, former Cessnock winger and son of former Hunter MP Joel Fitzgibbon, who died during a parachuting incident in March this year. As another Anzac Day comes to an end, the eternal flame for the fallen continues to burn, as we honour the service of our defence personnel across the Hunter. Angie Davies, NBN News.
Amid the stories of mateship today came a bond unlike any other. Two Lake Macquarie men who met by chance have discovered their fathers forged their own friendship during an unimaginable experience in World War II. This Anzac Day, they recount the story of the Aussie pilots who made it out alive after 3 years as prisoners of war.
Tim Mayo and Ronald Baines, two Australian airmen held captive at the same World War II POW camp in Germany. Their sons making the connection after a chance meeting in Toronto where they got talking about family history.
Peter just blurted out, my father was a pilot in World War II, was shot down and ended up in Stalag Luft 3 of Great Escape fame, and I was just absolutely amazed. I think I swore.
Richard then jumped online, finding this photo of their late fathers together on Anzac Day 1943. 11 months later, the Great Escape took place at the camp. 76 prisoners broke free.
My father was a tailor, making military uniforms into civilian uniforms, and he was also a stooge or a lookout, looking for goons or guards.
But sadly, the two mates would have to wait. 80 years on, the ink inside Ronald Baines' wartime diary hasn't faded. The stories of life inside a POW camp clear to read. He also filled his time learning to draw, the planes he piloted, as well as comedic pieces. Some have even been published in a book.
All these sort of things to keep him mentally aware, but he did have some very, very dark days.
After 3 years in captivity, Ronald and Tim were finally freed in 1945, after fighting ended in Europe. This Anzac Day, their father's bravery and sacrifice as young men is front of mind.
I know he did it for his parents, that he enlisted to protect them. He's certainly not forgotten.
Realising they live just 10 minutes drive from each other, Richard and Peter now meet to compare notes about their father's wartime experiences, forging their own bond.
I think they'd be pretty amazed.
Risa Utama, NBN News.
Well, the southerly kept temperatures down throughout the day, but it remained mostly fine, just a little bit of morning drizzle pushing through. We topped out generally in the low 20s, and that southerly is going to continue overnight and into tomorrow. All of your local details coming up soon.
You're watching NBN News. Still ahead, from the birthplace of the Anzac legend in Gallipoli to a new friendship milestone with France. Services around the world.
The rest of the day's news, including terror charges, the shocking extremist allegations against 5 southwest Sydney teenagers.
And hundreds drawn to the shore in a bid to save dozens of stranded pilot whales off WA.
What could your next 18-day holiday look like with TripADeal? Experience 2-for-1 Europe from $9,999 for 2 people, including flights. Explore 8 European destinations, including Italy, Spain, France, and sail across the glittering Mediterranean on an MSC cruise. Plus, for a limited time, you can earn up to 30,000 bonus Qantas points. The more you spend, the more you earn. Head to tripadeal.com.au. At Spotlight, Realty windows covered. VIP save 40 to 50% off faux Venetians. 50% off Fabian curtains. VIP save 30 to 40% off made-to-measure curtains, blinds and shutters. So open it, roll it and keep it warm for less. All backed by a bargain guarantee. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
These new pretty utes can't even go off-road.
Finally, a ute that answers the critics. Amarok.
Head to Chemist Warehouse and save on big brands like INC Pre-Workout Plus $34.99 each. Blackmore's CoQ10 150 milligrams $45.99. And Brower Kids Liquid Vitamin C $18.99. Chemist Warehouse, tackle great savings this NRL season.
With Dodo, you 100% of satisfied customers. It's flawless. 96%. It's almost flawless. And now get a real deal with discounts across Dodo's NBN range. World's been rethinking
water for over 50 years. Extended sale now on. Grab your Aussie Tough tank today. 47 750 litre tank starting for just $58.95. Sale must end April 29th. Think Tank World. 1-800-68-69-70.
With a smart new digital process and expert local support when you need it, we've made refinancing your home loan not hard. And with $3,000 cash back when you refinance online, that's not bad. Newcastle Permanent, here for good.
Harvey Norman bonus gift cards on now. Hurry, ends Friday. Spend $250 or more on selected products and get 10% of your purchase price in Harvey Norman gift cards. Ends Friday. Shop in store or online. Hurry, spend $250 or more on selected products and get 10% of your purchase price in Harvey Norman gift cards. Temporary promotion bonus gift cards valid for 1 month only from date of issue. Don't miss out. Bonus gift cards on now. Ends Friday at Harvey Norman.
Go! Experience 2 for 1 Europe from $9,999 for 2 people, including flights. Take a friend and discover 8 countries. Cruise the Mediterranean for 7 nights and more. Head to tripadeal.com.au.
Gallipoli is perhaps the most significant location on Anzac Day. More than 1,600 Australians attending the dawn service there this year. Among them, 4 extraordinary women whose sacrifice and service epitomises the spirit of Anzac.
A familiar but haunting tune. The sound of the last post pierces the pre-dawn silence at the site where our stoic soldiers stormed Gallipoli's shores 109 years ago.
The spirit lay with the men in their small boats in a dark, moonless sky as they rowed silently to the shore.
That mateship on display at the service, the Kiwi band calling on their Aussie counterparts when musical instruments didn't arrive in time due to flooding in Dubai.
We tried to locate other instruments, but the Australian band offered to help us.
It was the biggest crowd since the centenary commemorations, just over 1,600 packing out Anzac Cove. For many, a lifelong dream fulfilled.
Pretty emotional, actually, eh? Always want to come here and my wife organised it, so it's great.
In the crowd, Sonia, Heather, Karen and Fiona. 4 friends, decorated service women, at Gallipoli to honour the sacrifice of the fallen and reflect on their own.
Being here with these ladies, and look, obviously being here in this place is, special. It is special.
A special bond forged over a combined 100 plus years of service.
This is where the camaraderie we have is where it was created from, when they were thrown on the wrong beach and they had to.
It lives on at the very place it was born.
And Europe correspondent Jessica Millwood joins us from Anzac Cove. Jess, good evening. The commemorations there are far from over.
That's right. Many people after the dawn service made their way to the commemorations at the Lone Pine Memorial, the place where thousands of names of Aussie troops who have no known grave are listed. The Gallipoli Peninsula, it's such a peaceful place that it's hard to reconcile with the horrors that happened here. And while there was a lot of sadness today, overwhelmingly the people we spoke to said how proud they are to be Australian. Gav.
Jess, thank you.
Live now to France, and Europe correspondent Edward Godfrey is in Beyersdorf. Edward, hundreds of Aussies have made the journey there.
They have. This place on what was the Western Front is of great significance for both Australia and France. 1,901 people attended the dawn service, 2/3 of which are Australian. For many, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and for some, they've got a strong family connection. What happened here 106 years ago changed the course of the war, a victory and sacrifice that will forever link two nations. Nearly 1,300 Australians making the journey to Beyersdorf, where on the 3rd anniversary of the Anzac landings, brave Australian troops led a successful counterattack against the advancing German army. Mary Crouch's grandfather and great-grandfather both fought.
My great-grandfather, unfortunately, was gassed. He didn't die, but was repatriated as medically unfit.
Doug Williams's grandfather, David, survived but suffered a serious injury.
Lost a part of his ear and his hearing, but fortunately he made it home.
Of the 46,000 Australians who never made it home from the Western Front, the final resting places and identities of thousands remains unknown. But even now, more than a century on, the work continues and discoveries are still being made. One who finally has his own headstone, Queenslander George Hook, a rededication service in nearby Vinyacore, attended by members of his family.
I guess it gives us some sort of closure.
Aged 23, the sapper was fatally wounded by enemy fire. With no documentation on him, a match was only recently confirmed.
Over 100 years later, we're still identifying our Anzacs. So, yeah, it's important.
In memory of Australian Army engineers like him, a new bridge of friendship unveiled at Amiens. School students from St Joseph's, Stanthorpe in Queensland, joining French students.
And we have like a twin bridge in Brisbane. It's a great opportunity and it's amazing how we can come together.
And an important reminder.
Unless we have these sorts of memorials, it is too easy for young people to forget.
In Villa-Bretonneux, Edward Godfrey, NBN News.
To the day's other news now. Islamic State beheadings and instructions on how to make a bomb. That's what police allege they found on the phones of some teenagers arrested in raids in Sydney's west. 5 boys face court today, linked to the stabbing of a bishop in the Wakely church attack.
Leaving court, the family and friends of an alleged youth terror cell.
Were you surprised by these charges?
Salsa KFC?
It's not really a laughing matter, is it though?
A joke to some, others were blindsided as accusations of Islamic State propaganda videos and terror planning were put before a magistrate.
Does he understand the seriousness of these charges?
Obviously, they're serious matters. They'll be looked at seriously.
Of the 7 boys arrested yesterday, 5 were charged overnight, 2 16-year-olds and a 17-year-old accused of conspiring to plan a terrorist act. The older boy was also allegedly carrying a knife. A 14 and 17-year-old are accused of possessing extremist videos. The court heard the youngest of the accused, this 14-year-old boy, allegedly had Islamic State beheading videos on his phone, and this 17-year-old was in possession of military footage on how to make a bomb. Yesterday's counter-terrorism raids covered 9 suburbs around West and Southwest Sydney, including 4 homes in Greenacre and a premises in Goulburn. Evidence, particularly videos and messages on the accused's phones, are now being looked at.
These are difficult but important investigations, and the public can have confidence that we've got experienced detectives that are undertaking this task force to keep the community safe.
After a week of calming tensions within the Muslim community, the raids have reignited fears of retribution.
We went from a week ago where the police were categorically saying it was a lone wolf, and then within a week, impending doom.
Islamic leaders are concerned about extremist influences in their ranks and want police to share their intelligence.
We don't know who's the puppet master or their influencer. We just have to wait and find out.
Don't treat us as your enemy. You got to be treating us as a partner in this.
At Parramatta Children's Court, James Wilson, NBN News.
More than 20 whales have died after 160 became stranded on a beach off the coast of Dunsborough, south of Perth. Locals, wildlife officers and vets all raced to the scene to try and save as many as possible.
As expected, a southerly has busted its way up the coast today as it travelled north. It connected with a high-level cloud stream from the west, helping to trigger a burst of showers along with it. A large high is now controlling our weather, maintaining the southerly winds across eastern Australia. So we've got a colder night on the way, especially inland. Fine with plenty of sunshine for the northwest as the coast gets buffeted by more consistent southerly winds, causing isolated showers and helping to keep temperatures down.
Coming up next, 2 people killed in a crash on a notorious mid-north coast road.
Spooked horses on the loose in London.
A 98-year-old Eric Flood served his country in World War II. Today, he's front and centre leading the Ode at his Central Coast retirement village.
It's a DIY kind of day. I can feel it in my bones. It feels tingly. Luckily, Super Cheap Auto also offer DIFY. Do it for you with super quick battery fitting and testing. Make it super at Super Cheap Auto.
That's the sound of you winning. Because you managed to do 5 Zoom calls and organize Prosecco for the girls without even putting on pants. Smash it. DoorDash it.
With the Isuzu MUX, you're sorted. Whether you're getting away from everybody or getting away with everybody, bring all your special ones. Or just leave them all behind. Options galore. Live your own way in the 7-seat Isuzu MUX.
Go your own way. Take a look inside Haagen-Dazs, made en France, where only the best will do. Combining rich cream, luscious buttery caramel with crunchy brittle pieces. Et voila, the ice cream of ice creams.
Sweet shoes? Want 'em? Try the Google app for iPhone. Tap this, snap that. What a vibe. Can't name that song? Tap this, hum that. Right, wait. Tap this, hover over that, and now you know. Find it, hum it, translate it. More ways to search. Download the Google app for iPhone.
Gives you wings. When the lucky country isn't so lucky. It's lucky you're with Amy Business Insurance.
Lucky you're with Amy. Awaken the senses and downsize to a new way of living. Feel refreshed, revitalized and connected to nature. Take time to catch up with friends and experience the energy of a community coming together. Discover a location rejuvenated. From the buzz of local life to your beautifully designed home. Ingenia Lifestyle, Archers Run. Exclusive over 55s living in Morisset, Lake Macquarie.
2 people have died after a car and a motorbike collided on the Waterfall Way north of Bellingen. A motorcycle rider and passenger died at the scene. The car's driver was uninjured and was taken to Coffs Harbour Hospital for mandatory testing. Tonight, investigators are still on the scene with the road closed as they piece together how it happened.
Controversial serviceman Ben Roberts-Smith marked Anzac Day alongside dignitaries at the Perth Dawn service. It's where the Victoria Cross veteran was based while in the SAS. In June last year, a federal court found Roberts-Smith committed war crimes in Afghanistan as part of his defamation trial.
A warning, this story contains images some viewers may find distressing. Several people were injured when horses from the regiment which protects the King galloped through the streets of London during morning rush hour. One clipped a taxi and the other hit a parked vehicle. A soldier also thrown from their mount. Some of the horses ran for kilometres before they could be stopped.
US President Joe Biden has officially signed into law a $145
Eric Flood was just a teenager when his platoon stormed the beaches of Borneo at the tail end of the Second World War. But the veteran continues to serve to the families left behind through his work with Legacy and to the Central Coast community in which he lives.
98-year-old Eric Flood is always a willing hand on Anzac Day at Tarragle Glen Retirement Village, even down to singing in the choir. But Eric's links to the day run deep, to one of the last invasions in the Pacific Campaign of the Second World War.
After quickly establishing a beachhead, Australian infantry, supported by alligator tanks, push inland past the blazing ruins of buildings and oil installations.
He was still a teen amongst battle-hardened men, an experienced digger by his side, as his landing craft hit the beach of Balikpapan in Borneo.
And he said to me, Floody, doesn't matter what school you went to now, mate, it's what you do in the next few minutes that counts.
There would be no rousing speeches the night before, as troops nervously waited.
Some of them start talking about their families, a wife and a child that they'd left behind.
He would see that father again the following day, on a stretcher, approaching death.
He obviously was in a very serious situation. I remember that very well.
Eric also remembers the cracks created by over-officious censors for some, in letters sent to loved ones.
He came back very distressed to say that he'd been called before an officer because he had been saying too much about his feelings towards her, but the letter was held up and it was shredded.
Eric knew the power of the written word to a waiting wife, his father a Flanders digger, Eric still treasuring the poppy sent to his mother. His time at war would be thankfully short, his platoon alerted by a parachute from a spotter plane.
But when we got the note that was there, it simply said, pull your head in, blokes, it's all over. It's all over.
But it wasn't over for Eric Flood. From his decades of post-war service to legacy, to reading the ode at today's service.
We will remember them, lest we forget.
And to the visceral memories of war that can never be erased. When you smell burning oil, what do you think?
There's only one thought. I think of Balikpapan.
Mike Dalton, NBN News.
Wow, so many incredible stories.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, let's move to sport now. Jack Howard.
Jack, the Roosters put on quite a show for a sold-out crowd in Sydney this afternoon.
Oh, a show and a cricket score. After the break, the Dragons crashed back down to earth following an Anzac Day thumping. Plus, the late mail from Amy Park ahead of Melbourne's clash with the Rabbitohs.
With the Isuzu MUX, you're sorted. Whether you're getting away from everybody or getting away with everybody, bring all your special ones. Or just leave them all behind. Options galore. Live your own way in the 7-seat Isuzu MUX.
Go your own way. Of course, no unacceptable additives in our food. That's why our guests feel so great after eating GYG. We're a food company. We are obsessed with every ingredient. It's our responsibility to serve you real, delicious, clean food. Who said fast food has to be bad food? At GYG, clean is the new healthy. Love ya.
Gift cards on now. Hurry, ends Friday. Spend $250 or more on selected products and get 10% of your purchase price. Cards ends Friday. Shop in store or online. Hurry, spend $250 or more on selected products and get 10% of your purchase price in Harvey Norman gift cards. Temporary promotion bonus gift cards valid for 1 month only from date of issue. Don't miss out. Bonus gift cards on now. Ends Friday at Harvey Norman.
Go!
Temporary promotion bonus gift cards valid for 1 month only from date of issue. Don't miss out. Ends Friday at Domain.
Prejudice rising for a golden spectacular.
To to a historic victory in the Anzac Day Cup. Walker's supreme kicking game punishing the Dragons in a 60-18 win and picking up the Ashton Collier medal.
Two great rivals united in respect and rare moments of silence in rugby league. Before Jared Warrior-Hargraves sent Ali on stage.
The Warriors' first Anzac Day home game since 2015 didn't go to plan, stunned by last-place Titans 27-24 in Auckland. An electric performance by AJ Brimson, lifting Des Hasler's men to their first win of the season, the fullback scoring twice, reminding State of Origin selectors of his worth. Anzac Day footy continues in Melbourne tonight, the Storm hosting the Rabbitohs. Emma Lawrence and Billy Slater have the late mail.
Yes, thank you very much. Another big Anzac clash this evening. Billy Slater alongside me on the sideline. Billy, the Rabbitohs desperate for a victory tonight, but they do get two big inclusions. Damien Cook returns after a week in reserve grade. Do you expect him to have a point to prove this evening?
Well, I think so, Emma. Look, I think Damien Cook being left out of the team a couple of weeks ago before the bye, he'll certainly want to come back and perform. Look, they're two representative players and a lot of experience comes back into this side, and I expect Damien Cook to have a big game tonight. Arrow plays his first match since round one. He's had a shoulder injury. What type of impact will he have? Well, he's a standard setter. He's one of those players in the middle of the field that just sets the standard, and he'll get through a whole heap of work. I don't anticipate him scoring a whole heap of tries or bringing points to the team, but like I said, he'll set the standards in the middle of the field, and the rest of the team will follow him. So he's another welcomed inclusion, and I expect him. It's great to see Jai Arrow back because we haven't seen him since round one, and he seems to have overcome that shoulder injury. And who are you going with tonight? Look, I'm Melbourne Storm, of course, but I think it's going to be a tight one. They're coming off the bye, the Rabbitohs, so I expect them to be nice and fresh and very physical early. So they'll come down here with a point to prove and try and get out of the blocks really fast, but Melbourne for me. Big match coming up here at Amy Park. Coverage begins from 7:30.
93,000 fans packed into the MCG for the AFL's Anzac clash between Collingwood and Essendon. Jamie Elliott gave them a thrill soaring for this Mark of the Year candidate, the see-soaring encounter ending 85-all. Still to come, Liverpool stunned by local rivals, Everton leaving the Reds' title hopes in tatters.
Gives you wings.
So I heard you're back in town and haven't changed a bit, man. Time you get what you.
Teams getting ready to
So you wanna play me? Are you big enough?
Skill, power, and passion. This is intense as footy gets. We are ready for Origin footy.
For the first time in women's Origin history, a blockbuster three-match series.
Oh, baby, don't tell me I didn't warn you. It's a huge game for those women out on the big stage.
Ampol Women's State of Origin, exclusive, live and free. Only on 9 and 9 now.
Pineapple. I can beef up a burrito or flavour some fish. Make dinner for one. Or with squash. I can toss it, boss it, pile it up, or style it up. Tilda, elevate your plate.
Emerald Cruises brings you award-winning Europe 95. Contact your travel advisor or visit emeraldcruises.com.au.
The Nick Scarley April clearance ends Sunday with up to 40% off selected designer furniture. Save up to 40% at the April clearance. Ends Sunday at Nick Scarley.
Harvey Norman bonus gift cards on now. Hurry, ends Friday. Spend $250 or more on selected products and get 10% of your purchase price in Harvey Norman gift cards. Ends Friday. Shop in store or online. Hurry, spend $250 or more on selected products and get 10% of your purchase price in Harvey Norman gift cards. Temporary promotion bonus gift cards valid for 1 month only from date of issue. Don't miss out. Bonus gift cards on now. Ends Friday at Harvey Norman.
Go! Celebrate 40 years of Tocal Field Days, May 3 to 5. Discover the latest in farming techniques and technologies with over 370 exhibitors, plus heaps of entertainment, food, demonstrations and kids' activities. Tocal Field Days, 40 years celebration. Tickets on sale now.
This report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop in store or at hn.com.au.
Nikita Zou's undefeated record is intact, retaining his Australian super welterweight title over Italian Danilo Criati. Nikita couldn't put the veteran away despite an early knockdown, pushed beyond 6 rounds for the first time in his career, winning via unanimous decision. A shock defeat to Everton has left Liverpool's Premier League title hopes in tatters. For the first time in 14 years, the Toffees were able to stun their local rivals, winning 2-0 at home. The Gunners now 3 points adrift in first place. Western has snapped a 2-game losing streak in the NPL, downing Adamstown in their round 9 game this afternoon. Goalless for 60 minutes, a Chris Hatfield header finally broke the deadlock for the visitors. The lead was doubled minutes later.
Hatfield for a brace, and Western are out 2-0 in front.
The win moves Western up to 8th on the ladder. The Knights have spent the week adjusting to life without Kalen Ponga, faced now with the task of turning the season around in his absence. Jacob Saifidi admits he hasn't been setting the world on fire, but believes game 150 can provide the spark he needs to return to his damaging best. It's been a special week for David Armstrong, who is preparing to make his NRL debut. And lows of rugby league. The start of this season no different. The 2021 Danny Badiris medal winner taking ownership of his team's form.
I haven't been setting the world on fire, but there's some things in my game I'm happy with, and then some things I'm not, just in line with the team. So, a lot of improvement for myself and the team for this weekend. Yeah. One person keeping a close eye on Sunday's game is Michael Maguire. Saifidi is an incumbent. Saifidi is an incumbent in the New South Wales team after being recalled for Game 3 last year, but Madge has made it clear he'll be picking on form. I've had a couple of meetings with Madge over the last few months, but that's the furthest thing from my head at the moment. If I am to come up in selection, it's going to be playing good footy here. Playing at Suncorp Stadium, the Knights want to emulate their opponents, who have found ways to win without their superstars. We're looking to get that steely edge back about us, and what a better game to do it this weekend against the Dolphins. Blake Ferguson's time in the Newcastle Rugby League has come to an abrupt end, Curry terminating the former Australian representative's contract following a mutual agreement. Signed in the off-season, Ferguson was part of the Rebels Country Championship winning squad, but only played 1 game for the Bulldogs. The rest of Curry's team was in action against Souths today. Playing in their first game of the season, the Lions were quick to make up. Here they go again, here the Lions, quick hands, Clune. Spinning, Moon's over. Lions get their second. Souths went on to win 56-14. The Butcher Boys were also victorious, beating the Scorpions 38-10. The Wanderers have won the Adams Halter Anzac Shield for the first time, beating Merriweather in front of a huge crowd at number 2 Sports Ground. Both sides were happy to go up in threes. The Green scored the only try of the first half to lead 9-8 at the break.
Comes wide, but goes to Jack Mackay. Jack Mackay, the flick out wide. Here comes Fisher for the corner. And the first try of the match. The young Josh Fisher.
Given a red card early in the second half, Wanderers channeled their fighting spirit. Luke Simmons kicking a penalty after the siren to seal a 2-point classic. The Cardiff Hawks and Warner Bay Bulldogs have shared the honours with a win each. The Hawks women set the pace with a whopping 139-point victory. The men's game was much closer. Down at three-quarter time, the Bulldogs came back to win 67 points to 50. And that wraps up a huge day of sport.
Thank you, Jack.
Excellent stuff. Stay with us. Weather is next.
Whatever they get up to or into, cats know how to look after number one. But when it comes to staying safe from parasites, they rely on you for that. New NexGuard Spectra Spot On for cats. It's the most complete protection against fleas, ticks, mites, worms, and even heartworm. All in one easy monthly application. Just one and it's done. New NexGuard Spectra for cats.
Headaches can impact performance. Unleash the speed of liquid with Nurofen Advanced Liquid Capsules for fast headache relief when it matters most. You in the game, we'll do the headache relief fast.
When she has a cold, you just want her to feel herself again. You enjoy the show. We'll do the cold and flu, pain and fever relief for up to 8 hours. Nurofen, leave the pain and fever to us.
Just magical, just fancy, just nothing else like it. Just cameling, is that even a word? Just, just, blue, just wow.
You have got to build a classic TV show.
Sunday, take your seats.
You've got 10 seconds to identify the TV show.
I'm not very good at names of TV shows.
Too late now, we're doing it anyway.
It's showtime.
Oh my gosh, it's not like Grease Lightning. Is that the opening of Friends? Is it?
In a super sized week.
We're down here.
Yeah. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Who will make the semi-finals?
I give you...
Are you okay, Hamish?
Everything's good.
Lego Masters, Sunday at 7 on 9.
This is how I made my very first mocktail. Yes! With the help of the Google app. After realising I had no idea what I was doing.
What's a jigger?
All I had to do was take a photo of anything I wasn't sure of and pop it in the app.
That's the jigger.
I even figured out how to work this bubble gun by snapping a photo and then adding how to use to the search.
Nobody breathe. I feel like I'm about to pick up a Taipan.
More ways to search. Download the Google app for iPhone.
In the wind, the scaffolding was moving around. The shower was heavy, moving through overnight, but it cleared. Just a little bit of early drizzle first thing this morning, but cleared nicely. Fall from Mark Gell, paying homage to our diggers, our fallen diggers and servicemen and women. A fabulous service right across all of the region this morning. That shower activity seen right here. It moved onto the mid-north coast. Sadly, they weren't as lucky. It was buffeting and hitting the Macquarie coast around that dawn service time. Otherwise, most of the nation had fine conditions today. Very little going on. There's some high-level cloud just linking up with that front as it moved onto northern New South Wales, crossing into Queensland. Another surge of cold air and another little backup front running up the coast. That's overall going to maintain that southerly influence. It's a big high, so right across eastern Australia now affected by that southerly influence. It's not overly cold, it's just a cool one, but throw in the wind chill factor, making it feel just a little bit fresher, and another bird. And that is likely to clip some of our local area. Otherwise, around the nation, all of our capitals are fine, apart from Melbourne. Cairns also has a shower in the forecast, but you can see for Sydney town, also cool, only 22 on the way, and Perth warming back up. They've got more heat building, 27 expected. Nowhere near that today. Generally low 20s right across the region. Fairly small temperature swing at Nobbies. It was almost as cool, but that wind made it feel fresh this morning as what it was during the peak of the day, but the sunshine certainly made makes a difference. Look at the thermoscale, cold tomorrow morning because of the southerly holding its ground pretty much all day, moving from the southwest around to the south-southeast. And therefore, as it moves around, it's going to want to just push in a little bit of cloud and a burst of showers, particularly over the exposed areas, Nelson Bay up to Seal Rocks, but likely to potentially just clip in over parts of the Newcastle region. Central Coast should get away with it. It's a fine day, but fairly cool also, only topping out in the low 20s yet again. That's really what we're going to see play out right across the region. And a bit colder overnight, though. Chillier conditions. You can see down to about 11 throughout most coastal areas and single digits tomorrow morning inland. So colder tomorrow, but hopefully for most you get to sleep in, maybe back to work for some. It's an unofficial long weekend. Headed for tops of 21 degrees throughout tomorrow. New swell, quite chunky, 3 metres, southerly direction of course. Sun to rise, 6:21, down 5:20. Working to the high tide tomorrow morning, getting there at about 9:45. So the waves there, almost 3 metres and directly out of the south, and a wave period of 10 seconds. The risk of showers along the coast, small, but there, then warming up, drying up. Generally, it's a pretty nice weekend. It's really going to fine up. Inland remaining all fine and very, very comfortable by the time we hit the start of next week, and the Central Coast remaining fine. Well, surf, it's obviously got some punch now. There's plenty of hit to it as far as set size is concerned. We've got some decent sets, but it's about the winds, of course. It's southerly, so it is going to be affecting most of our open beaches. Southern corners, Merewether Triad, you'll have the south-southwesterlies, so those real protected corners are going to be your best bet tomorrow. That's NBN News for this Thursday, Anzac Day 2024. A kind of current affairs next.
Thank you for your company and from all the team. Good night.
Lest we forget.
Anzac Day is a big day at Jack's place. Hundreds are waiting. Getting to the Anzac Day march in the city is a little much these days, so the march comes to him, a service on the steps for Jack. World War II veteran with a handshake for everyone.
Thank you, service, Jack.
Coming face to face with a man straight from the pages of history.
And Peter sends his love and regards.
Thank you. Jack's a little slower these days, and he still has a wonky knee from a battle at sea 80 years ago.
Lovely to meet you. When I turned 18, I signed up. And strange it might seem, one of the main reasons I signed up, you got a pair of boots, some clothes, and some food, proper, because we was depression kids.
Did you know what you were getting yourself in for when you signed up?
No, there's a rifle, there's a tin hat, learned to march up and down and go bangity bang bang bang, and hope to survive. And away we went. Good morning. Good morning.
For him, Anzac Day is about the next generation.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'd like to see the children, because the children who come to see me are our future, that they can live a long and happy life without having to go to war when they turn 18.
A decorated sailor in numbers which every year get a little smaller, a little more precious. Today, Jack is giving us a look back at his life. Born in 1923. Can you see that one?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got little shorts on, and your shirt's all tucked in.
Yeah, I can see that. That was in Ganmain.
A childhood spent in country New South Wales. Oh, and here's one here. This is the one, Jack, of you and all your brothers and sisters on the same horse.
Oh, yeah, the Bartlett's on the old grey horse.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 7 kids.
Seven kids on the same old horse.
Jack first joined the army because he was told he was too skinny to be in the Navy. When the war was over, he served in New Guinea and the Solomon Islands, cleaning up the bombs left behind. On his return, a trip to the local football would change his life.
And as I walking round to the clubhouse, there was 4 ladies. I said, who's that little blonde girl on the end there? Eileen Brown. I said, hello, Eileen Brown. I'm John Bartlett. I'm going to marry you. And 18 months later, on the 18th of December 1950, we got married. At 42 wonderful, wonderful years. This is her table.
This is her table.
Her table.
Of all the men who served during World War II on HMAS Menorah, records show Jack is the last man standing. And if you ask him, he'll be standing to attention on Anzac Day for plenty more years to come.
I live up here and I'll stop here till I die. And I don't feel like dying yet.
Isn't he just glorious? And Jack Bartlett, we salute you. As we honour the fallen, we must too remember the brave who've slipped through the cracks. Too many of our soldiers return from war only to be abandoned when they most need help. One man is determined to be their voice.
You would have to be inhuman not to feel, some trauma from hearing the stories that we've heard over the last 3 years.
It's been a military mission like no other.
Do you think we've let our Defence Forces, our military, down in some respects?
I think as a society we have. I think nowhere near enough has been done in the last probably 2 or 3 decades to look after them.
On Anzac Day, as we remember those who sacrificed so much in war, Royal Commissioner Nick Caldus is also remembering those the military has deserted.
I've not been able to tell my story. I've been ordered to not speak about my situation.
It was evidence that shocked: bullying, sexual harassment, abuse.
Everybody has their breaking point, and unfortunately I found mine.
You would have heard, and I'm sure it's going to impact you, some shocking stories in the last 3 years. Has there been one that's kept you awake at night?
I think there's simply too many. I don't think I'd like to single one out, admit it into evidence.
One of the most harrowing, Reverend Dr. Nikki Coleman, who was a chaplain in the Royal Australian Air Force. She claims she was indecently assaulted by a colleague, her abuser protected by military leadership.
It is a perfect storm of factors to enable covering up of abuse.
The blatant disregard for fairness and what happened to her when she raised a complaint of sex abuse and then was essentially forced out of the organisation, and quite dreadful things happened to her and anyone who supported her.
For Caldus, it was one horror story among so many.
I think one of the lessons that has come out of the Royal Commission is that perhaps there's been not a whole lot of curiosity on the part of the public and the media about what's happening with our servicemen and women and our veterans on a regular basis.
The former cop and United Nations investigator has vowed the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide will force change.
The Royal Commission hopefully has achieved one thing, which is to bring these problems out in public to a point where they are now undeniable. It certainly did surprise us about the sheer number of people who had been traumatised, who thankfully, found the courage to speak up, to put their hand up and to come forward and talk to us.
The inquiry received a staggering 6,000 submissions, Caldus paying tribute to those who shared their so-called lived experience.
Very hard to go back and revisit terrible things that may have happened to you and tell your story yet again. There is a distinct, definite connection between that trauma that people feel and their service. It is connected to their service. There is no doubt about that now.
Why hasn't that connection been drawn before the Royal Commission began.
I think it's been pointed at many times, but has been denied. It is now undeniable.
The veteran investigator admits there has been pushback.
Not directly, but there is a culture within the ADF, and you can't blame individuals. It's been there for decades, if not longer.
One glaring issue, the lack of accountability.
That's a recipe for nothing changing.
What do you hope the legacy of the Royal Commission will be?
The bottom line is we want to have a very real and significant impact on the rate of suicide and suicidality, both in the serving community, the men and women who are in the organisation, as well as the veteran community who are out of it.
The commissioners want a watchdog independent of the government set up to enforce their recommendations.
We think that's essential. It is the main recommendation this Royal Commission will make. We can't see any other way of dealing with the problems. We could keep doing what we're doing now. The result will be the same. We must have a way to break that cycle.
After the courage of those who gave evidence, change has to happen.
That shouldn't be for nothing, should it?
I know there are cynics who said, well, you're just the 58th inquiry and nothing will come out of this. I don't think that's the case. I think we've turned the corner. There are some who have had really significant problems and the system has let them down quite badly.
They've slipped through the cracks, haven't they?
They have, yeah.
And that's got to stop.
Absolutely, yeah. We have to do better.
And hopefully we do. The Royal Commission will hand down its final report in September. In all the acts of bravery in war, there are some stories that stand out, like that of Bill Akel. As a lanky 19-year-old, his heroics saved lives during the Battle of Long Tan. So each Anzac Day, fellow veteran Dave Wright makes sure his good mate shines, adding a touch of magic to his medals.
Medals all ready?
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
There you go. All done, ready for wearing on Anzac Day.
From one serviceman to another at your service.
Enjoy it and wear them with pride.
Need a spit and polish for your Anzac medals? Veteran Dave Wright will do you right, especially if your name is Bill Akel. What are your thoughts about his incredible exploits, his bravery on that day?
Oh, very, very proud of him. Proud to have him as a mate. They showed that the Australians are good soldiers.
Bill is a very special customer, an Aussie war hero who saved countless lives during the Battle of Long Tan.
The Viet Cong were coming at us in a human wave. We had 5 minutes to live.
Bill, it's August the 18th, 1966. Yes. You're 19 years old.
Yes.
And you've got to run 200 metres to find 10
platoon.
10 platoon.
Yes.
Yeah. In the pouring rain, monsoonal thunderstorms.
Yes.
With 400,000 rounds of ammunition.
Not all aimed at me, thank goodness.
No. A total of 108 soldiers, 105 Aussies and 3 Kiwis are pinned down by heavy Viet Cong fire. The Australians don't know it, but they're outnumbered 20-1 and facing annihilation. Summon the hero.
There was nobody else to do it.
Bill Akel, a skinny 19-year-old from Townsville, Queensland, is the signalman for Delta Company. Somehow, someway, someone has to run a radio set through the heat of battle to Platoon 10, trapped with no comms and facing slaughter. I'll do it, says Bill. So you're running across the field, you come across 2 Viet Cong?
Yes.
What happens?
They fired at me. Unfortunately, they missed, obviously, and I returned fire, dropped them, and continued moving on to find 10 platoon.
Through the mud, the blood, the bullets, and the bodies, the kid from Queensland delivers that radio set, and 10 platoon is saved. Did you feel brave at the time?
No, you just felt as though you had a job to do.
Long Tan was Australia's most costly conflict in the Vietnam War. 18 dead and dozens badly wounded. Some Aussie heroes received medals for bravery at Long Tan, and some didn't. The federal government had a quota system, and there were only so many medals to go round. Bill and several other diggers didn't make the cut. The Battle of Long Tan lasted 3 hours, and you would think that was enough conflict for Bill. But there was something else worth fighting for, official recognition of their bravery that day at Long Tan. 40 years later, Bill and his mates won that battle as well.
And to have to fight for 40 years for that recognition, it's shameful.
8 years ago, the federal government finally surrendered, awarding Bill his bravery medals. But the recognition didn't end there. Bill, these are round. In a movie as well as yourself.
Yes.
Danger Close.
Danger Close, a movie. Yes, very proud to be involved in the movie itself because again it brings to the Australian people and to the world exactly what happened at Long Camp.
I need you to get that radio to Templeton. You reckon you can do that for me? Listen.
Anzac Day, it's one of the most important days, I feel, for the Australian community. It gives us the opportunity to pay our respects to those that have given their lives and also those that still suffer for the Australian people.
Looking good, Bill. You earned it, mate, and we salute you and every other veteran marching in our towns and cities today. We remember and we thank those who put their lives on the line. Dave, what is your contribution to Anzac Day?
I take in medals from veterans and first responders. I mount them in the correct order with the correct ribbons to correct measurements so that they can wear them with pride on Anzac Day.
Veteran Dave Wright owns a medal and military memorabilia store in Ballarat. Bill moved to the area from Queensland 35 years ago. How many veterans and families have come in here to get help with their medals?
Over the last 2 months, about 500.
This Anzac Day, well done to you and all the vets who looked after us, yeah?
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. Good on you.
They should never have had to fight for those medals, but Bill and Dave, that's friendship right there. Up next, a blast that changed one Aussie veteran forever.
About as harrowing an incident as you can expect to see as a military person.
Experience the smooth, barista-crafted taste of free coffee for a year. Free. Buy any McCafe coffee on the My Macca's app for a chance to win.
Free. So I heard you're back in town and haven't changed a bit, man. Time you get what you deserve.
My teams getting ready to battle.
So you wanna fight me? Are you big enough?
This is intense as footy gets. We are ready for Origin footy. She is just all power.
Money, I've changed so much since I listened.
For the first time in women's Origin history, a blockbuster 3-match series.
Oh, baby, don't tell me I didn't warn you.
It's a huge game for those women out on the big stage.
Ampol Women's State of Origin. Exclusive, live and free. Only on 9 and 9 now.
It's all right. You've got this. Let's get this cot home. We probably don't need all these baby clothes.
If you need help wrangling your money, we're right there with you. NAB, more than money.
He was my great-uncle Jack, the Anzac.
There could be more to your story. Piece it together with Ancestry.
Is intelligent life out there, or is it buying a 28-cent?
By Ingenia Lifestyle.
Looking for a contemporary home at an affordable price? Discover unbeatable value at Domain Homes. Find out how you can save 10% and price your new home today at domainhomes.com.au. This Mother's Day, Black Pepper is celebrating all the amazing women in our lives. Spend $100 in store or online and receive $20 off for a limited time only. It's time to spoil her or yourself and wear life well in Black Pepper.
At the Australian Caravan Centre, you'll find your dream caravan, offering brand new, pre-owned, off-road, touring and luxury caravans. Our friendly staff will find a caravan that suits your needs and budget. Australian Caravan Centre, Heather Bray, Newcastle.
The Lee Rowan's Garden World School Holiday Sale is on now, with prices slashed on pots and plants, plus amazing discounts on pavers, garden walls, water features and more, all during the School Holiday Sale, on now at Lee Rowan's Garden World.
The Nick Scarley April clearance ends Sunday with up to 40% off selected designer furniture. Save up to 40% at the April clearance. Ends Sunday at Nick Scarley.
The Anzacs fought for our freedom, and their legacy of selflessness and courage continues today. So we're being asked to give just a little back.
Where's Victor Charlie?
My vehicle is somewhere in the middle of all that. So about as harrowing an incident as you can expect to see as a military person.
Lieutenant Colonel Garth Callender has dedicated his life to service and sacrifice.
Active Service Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, Iraq.
Of courage and healing, and he's sharing it for Anzac Day as part of Coles' annual Bravery Trust appeal, supporting veterans.
As we've heard, being in the military, it's not just what happens over there, it's kind of what happens when you get back.
In 2004, a then junior cavalry officer, Garth was deployed to Iraq, leading convoys of armoured vehicles through the streets of Baghdad.
You left your home knowing that you may not come back.
Yes, that was always a possibility. We saw a lot of violence.
Insurgents targeting Garth's convoy in this roadside bomb attack.
That was a big one, man.
I was knocked out cold, as were the crew members in the vehicle.
Can't assess Victor Charlie.
I knew I'd been injured. I wasn't sure how, and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't see.
Having sustained life-threatening injuries, Garth became Australia's first serious casualty in the war and was medically evacuated from Iraq. But that wouldn't stop him from returning to the Middle East in uniform twice more. While everyone survived the blast, many came home bearing lasting scars.
Some of them are really paying a price for seeing those, humanity at its worst that day.
These days, Garth continues to serve, taking up a post with national military charity Bravery Trust, providing financial aid for veterans and their families.
To make sure that they don't slip through the cracks.
Veteran Peter Arbuckle served 8 years in the Australian Defence Force.
Between Laos and Thailand, out on your own, surrounded by Khmer Rouge, mines, being shot at.
After being medically discharged from the Australian Defence Force in 1997, a motorcycle accident led to the amputation of Peter's left leg.
I lost my job. I was low on funds.
Covering Peter's expenses, Bravery Trust supported him through his rehabilitation.
I'm not sure where I would have been had it not been for the Bravery Trust getting me through.
Discovering wheelchair rugby league during his recovery, Peter has now gone on to represent Australia at 2 Invictus Games and the Rugby League World Cup in England.
Bravery Trust at that time gave me the opportunity to go overseas.
While the kitchen is a far cry from the battlefield, for Peter and Garth, this is a mission that matters to them.
By buying these packets of biscuits from Coles is our way of helping these individuals that haven't fared well from their service.
The Bravery Trust relies on donations, Garth and Peter meeting with supermarket staff to put a face and story to the charity's work.
We're able to help Pete get back on his feet, and he's gone on to do great stuff.
Really puts it in the front of your mind and how it's impacted people in real life.
For Anzac Day, Coles is donating 40 cents from the sale of every 12-pack bakery Anzac biscuits to Bravery Trust.
It helps put food on the table, it keeps a roof over people's heads, it puts petrol in their cars so they can get to medical appointments.
And you did make some Anzac biscuits yourself today, so can we confirm that they're good?
I think the ones I made okay, but I know generally they are great.
Who doesn't love an Anzac bicky, right? And good on you, lads. Coming up, the parking fine bungle. Well, this grandma could be locked up.
Could be arrested if the sheriff comes to my door.
Be ready to lend a mate your keys. With Allianz Comprehensive Car Insurance, they're covered the same as you. Get your quote today. Allianz.
Medicines just got cheaper for a range of ongoing health conditions. Now, selected PBS medicines can be prescribed for 60 days.
You have got to build a classic TV show.
Sunday, take your seats.
You've got 10 seconds to identify.
The Plush Autumn Sale ends Sunday.
Self-first thing plush.
Well, girls and boys, it's been another very exciting day for our friend Big Dog. Lots of adventure and fun for everyone. But now it's time for Big...
Tomorrow night, why Stephanie's seeing red.
Granny's parking fine fiasco.
Could be arrested if the sheriff comes to my door.
Stephanie paid her 90...
provided, yet they still continue to hound people.
We'll have that story tomorrow, and that's our program this Anzac Day. I'm Ali Langdon. Thanks for your company, and have a great evening.
You're saying a country is firing energy weapons through walls of buildings.
There's a new generation of weapons.
Hundreds struck down.
It felt like my head was in a vice.
Bam, inside my right ear.
Extreme vertigo, you lose control.
The symptoms aren't in dispute. Who and what caused them is.
The worldwide investigation reaching all the way to Australia.
Sounds like it's straight from a spy thriller.
Sunday.